It's one of the most bizarre crimes we've ever encountered. The abduction last July of 20-year-old glamour model Chloe Ayling. She says she was snatched off a street in Milan and kept hostage in a remote Italian farmhouse while her kidnappers arranged to auction her off as a sex slave to the highest bidder. Chloe's escape from this terrifying ordeal was so extraordinary, many accused her of making the whole story up, an elaborate publicity stunt for fame and fortune. Well, a few days ago, a judge in an Italian court had his say. And as Liam Bartlett reports, the intrigue continues.
As far as near-death experiences go, they don't come much more peculiar than this.
My life is in the hands of these two people who I don't know, like, what's going to happen to me, I just didn't know. So I was like, I'm going to die, like, I'm not going to come out of this alive.
What happened to Chloe Ayling is so strange, so out there, many people questioned if she was telling the truth. The stunning English model was lured to Italy's fashion capital, Milan, for a photo shoot. But instead, she was abducted and drugged by two men, claiming to be part of a notorious and violent crime gang. Their plan was to sell her as a sex slave to the highest bidder.
One person put his arm around my neck and the other hand with a glove on my mouth and my nose, and another masked man rushed in front of me and held a syringe to my arm. They managed to get the syringe into my wrist, and then I was unconscious.
What were you injected with?
Ketamine.
Chloe's kidnappers were two Polish-born brothers. Ringleader, 30-year-old Lucas Herber, and his assistant, 36-year-old Michael Herber. The brothers gagged and handcuffed the unconscious Chloe, zipped her into a duffel bag and threw her into the boot of their car. They then drove to a secluded farmhouse outside Milan.
I opened my eyes and I have like restriction on my mouth. Like I didn't know what it was at first. I had hands in my handcuffs and I was like trying to feel where I am. I heard the engine, so I knew I was in a moving car.
So this is where she stayed, where they kept her?
Yes. And I came.
They shackled her
They shackled
in the bedroom?
Yes.
Can you show me?
Yes.
Back in July last year, Fabrizio Prati rented his home to Michael Herber, who claimed to be an artist looking for an isolated spot to work.
This is where she slept?
UK.
Handcuffed?
Handcuffed, yes.
Did the neighbours notice anything at all? Did they see them?
They
saw them eating, doing the shopping, as if they lived together normally, a couple on holidays.
After a couple of days of being chained up, Chloe says things suddenly changed with Lucas Herber, who, for a kidnapper, started to become overly friendly. She says he seemed to take pity on her. He took her to the local village, and on one occasion even went shoe shopping with her, where they were caught on CCTV walking hand in hand.
One of the witnesses in the village said that you looked very comfortable, that you were sort of sharing a few laughs with him while you were shopping.
I wasn't laughing, we were just walking.
When you were in the shop, couldn't you have just made a run for it with people around you?
He made me believe that even if I managed to escape, I would still be killed. I had to go about this the right way.
Chloe, that's a pretty important point though, isn't it?
What do you mean? to
go shoe shopping with the person who kidnapped you? I mean, I've heard of Stockholm Syndrome. I've never heard of shoe shopping syndrome.
Yeah, I know.
Chloe had her own plan. And after 6 days in captivity, she'd established enough rapport with Lucas Herber, she was able to charm him into an extraordinary undertaking. He agreed to free her before the sex slave auction.
When Chloe was set free, Lucas Herber brought her here to the British consulate. She was under instructions to identify him only as her friend, which she did. He also released her on the condition that when she get back to the UK, she find a way to pay him £50,000 or be killed. But here's where the story takes another strange twist. Turns out they got here too early. The consulate wasn't open, so they calmly popped in next door for a nice breakfast.
I don't think he ate, he just had a juice. I can't remember.
It's very strange.
I know.
What sort of kidnapper releases their victim and puts them on some sort of honour system to pay the money back when they get home?
Because I was so brainwashed into thinking that if I don't do it, I'm just going to die.
Lucas Herber was arrested on the spot, but the backlash against his victim was just as swift and brutal. In yet another weird twist, he claimed Chloe was in on the stunt right from the start. A grand plan to make easy money and boost her modelling career.
Because I look how I do and I do glamour, then people automatically would associate that with publicity. So it's not fair.
This week, an Italian court decided they believed Chloe's version of events and found Lucas Herber guilty of kidnapping and attempted extortion. He was sentenced to a minimum of 16 years jail. It was the vindication Chloe had been fighting for. Justice against those who were certain she was a villain rather than a victim.
I see why people have doubts, because it does look, like, if it wasn't me, I would think, like, it's crazy. But it doesn't affect me, because after going through something so bad, like the opinions of people that don't even know me or know the full story is just not going to affect me.
Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.